Hey, if you're new, thanks for stopping by. If you're not new, thanks for all the engagement, all the nice comments over the past few weeks. We've been doing this. It's December, 17th. So we're past the 2-week mark, and I think we're going to keep this going strong because I really do enjoy sharing the aspects of my business. So what is my business? Well, it's getting bids right now on my phone. It's blowing up with all these notifications. Resale on Amazon and eBay. There's other ways to do it. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but I'm saying what I'm focusing on more and more every day, every week, is optimizing processes for eBay and Amazon. All these boxes here, you might have seen them in the last garage video. These are, at a time when I thought I could be the kind of person who sells clothing on eBay. And I had a chance to buy a lot for really cheap, and they've just been sitting here. So what am I going to do with things like this? Well, the first issue is these are not heavy-duty boxes. They're just medium-sized boxes from Walmart. Good for storing things in your garage, not good for shipping. So what I'm going to do, whenever the holiday rush slows down, we're down to about 35 orders a day, down from 125 a week ago. Buy some heavy-duty medium boxes and just auction them off on eBay. 1 penny plus shipping, dimensional calculated shipping. Clear out space, both mentally and physically as well. Mentally, what am I talking about? If you're new, you haven't. This might seem like, well, that's nonsense. But if you're not new, you go back and watch the videos. Clearing out space to allow you to focus on the processes you've built up. So for these clothes, do I have a process? No. Does that mean they're garbage? Absolutely not. Someone like Hustlin' Hooks, they have a great process. Chris Lynn, who was initially 10K on the Bay, and he's now Daily Refinement. He has created an awesome process for selling clothes. I think he mostly sells new clothes, but it doesn't really matter. If you can create the process and you can replicate the process and you can create systems for obtaining items. If you go back to FlipCon, on the panel I spoke on, I said there's 3 things to a business. And I was kind of still confirming these things myself and just talking to so many people who are making a lot of money, nailed it home, really hit it home. There's how you acquire things, there's how you list things, and there's how you ship things. Those 3 parts of your business are really going to be what makes or breaks you. And that can be service-oriented, it can be resale-oriented, it can be private label, it can even be wholesale. It's the idea of saying, this is what I know is valuable. What jackets do I know are valuable? I have no clue what jackets are valuable. I think there's like this timeline of the evolution of any individual person who sells stuff on eBay, where at first you're going just off what you think looks good, what you might like, whatever. Second, you're going off brands, doing keyword sold searches. And keyword sold searches are way better than just guessing or going off your gut instinct. But they don't always, sometimes they lack the nuance. I think what a lot of people, human beings, I want to say in today's society, but I think it's pretty general. The idea of nuance on topics. If you're trying to understand things, or you're trying to convince yourself of something, you're trying to make a difficult decision about whether to buy something or not to buy something, I think the natural human inclination is to boil it down to a sort of bifurcated, I think that's the right word, black and white identity of good versus bad as opposed to the gradient of nuance that exists in every kind of conversation, every kind of topic, and certainly in business. Most of these things here, they're not all bad, but probably, I couldn't even guess what portion, but enough. I know enough are in there where in order for me to change gears, do the research, do everything necessary to have a grasp of that nuance, it's not a good use of my time to sell, what's the difference between this polo shirt and that polo shirt? This cut of jeans, that cut of jeans. Is this obviously shrunk or does it run small? Just things like that kind of nuance. And I think that's the second level of resale that a lot of people hit to. And it's not just resale. I say resale because that's what I'm in, right? That's the business that I'm trying to scale up. But it can be anything. Any kind of business is going to have that nuance. And okay, let's say you run a lawn care company and you see on paper this lawn is 12,000 square feet and it's a half mile away and it's flat. But what you don't know is that there are, it's on an old garbage dump, and there's glass there that you can't, easily run a mower on. Things like that, kind of like second level nuance that I think a lot of people get hung up on. And that's where the importance of processes comes in, because a process takes out any sort of gray area, any sort of feelings you have on things. It's what separates people like myself who have a difficult time having employees. I've hired over the course of my life and my businesses, a half a dozen, maybe 8 in-person employees, and they've all failed miserably. I do better with online employees, and I think the reason is because when you have that in-person contact, for me at least, it's easy to rely on gestures, not spelling things out in black and white. Whereas if you lack the physical contact, if it's only an email conversation, for example, you have to really deliberately write out what you expect, what should be done, things like that. And it's just the kind of stuff that I'm learning in the business world. At this point, I've ran my own business. I've been self-employed for, 16 years. And I'm not at the top by any means, but I think that every, 5 years, I'm better off than the 5 years before that, if you want to chunk it up that way. And then the third level is where I'm trying to get, and I think this is where actual scalability happens, where you can consider yourself someone who leads, who's an expert more or less, or at least you have a system that allows you to grow without just working harder. We hit on that in the last video, or 2 videos ago, one of the 2. And that's creating the systems that allow you to outsource and delegate tasks. Because it's not as easy as just hiring people. People always say, well, just find some high school students who want to make $12 an hour. And that's just, maybe it works where you are. Maybe, I was talking to Josh, Harry Tornado, and he said the best thing he ever did was hire a helper to come in at, I don't know how much he pays her, but I'm sure he pays her quite a bit more than the average wage in that area. He lives in South Carolina where there's not a lot of well-paying hourly jobs, I don't think. I mean, if I'm wrong, please correct me. And he found someone right off the bat who could follow orders. I think she had existing eBay skills. I haven't been able to find that. Maybe I haven't looked hard enough. Maybe I don't know where to go. Certainly, I haven't done my part in making my business accommodating for that kind of person to come and just implement themselves. But the point remains, there's something that last hump I'm trying to get over, the last thing that I want to do that I encourage you to talk about in the comments or with me or whatever you want to do. The way you can implement systems that are scalable, that go beyond gut feeling, that go beyond just look up the brand name, scan the barcode, things like that create this extra leeway that give you room to grow. Because if your business functions on very thin margins, one of the only things that you can use to grow it is cash or hard work. And those, unfortunately, are more difficult to come by. Money has an interest rate. There's only 24 hours in a day. But if you can use your creativity and add value through the organization, the way I've talked about guys like Elon Musk saying that that's how they ran, or how they grew PayPal, how they grew Tesla, even though I'm not trying to grow as big as PayPal, I think that it's still an intelligent way to view your business, to view your passions, to view whatever you want to make better in your life. Creating systems that rely on creative organization, creative problem solving, and not just rote methodology.